Jack and Diane. You just watched the transformational story of Jack and Diane. How many of you know someone like Jack and Diane? Raise your hand. I see a few small. Okay. How many of you feel like Jack or Diane? All right. Very good. Very good. And how many of you would kill to be like the transformation after Jack and Diane? All right. Yeah, that's more like it. So why is this so important? In other words, how did this 4-minute story come about? Well, over the last 10 years, I've been collecting little stories and transformations and seeing people go from a really bad place to a good place. And I started thinking, I said, gosh, how do you tell the story of what we're doing, body hormone balance? And if you're new here, it's definitely confusing. Like, what is this all about? So I started collecting the stories, and I talked to a cartoonist, and I said, look, Andre, I said, this is what's happened in my world. He says, I don't believe it. I said, no, it's really true. These people really go through this. And he says, okay. He says, you tell me what the story is going to be. Well, that's what happens. And so I see a lot of Jack and Diane's. But as we're getting started tonight, we've got to figure out why we're really here. A lot of times you go to a doctor or you go to what's called an alternative healthcare practitioner, the internet, you buy stuff. But really, why are we here tonight? In other words, what are we really talking about? Well, the easiest way to answer that is Jack and Diane. Well, what is it that Jack and Diane have that you would like to have after their transformation? What are we really talking about? Anybody have any ideas? Once we get over this part of it, it's going to be easy. Let me give you a hint. Somebody raise your hand. Found it? It's a little more deep than that. I actually can say things tonight, and so can you, that I can't say in my office. I get into trouble all the time. Girls tell me in the office, Dr. Moricz, if you keep saying stuff like this, it says, you're going to scare some people. I said, really? And I look out in the waiting room, and they're all there. So, but let's go deeper.
It's better sexuality.
There you go. Who said that? Very smart man. We're talking about youthful sexuality. So why is it that here we are in the era of the 21st century, and you go to the doctor or wherever you go, and they never ask you, what would happen? This is what I want. And that's why we're here tonight. Nobody can really talk about it because they're confused about how to get you there. So you nailed it right, but we're here for youthful sexuality. That's really what we're about. I'm going to need a volunteer. I love volunteering people. Who's in the front row? Nobody's in the front. Nobody wants to be in the front row. Isn't it funny? I don't know how that works that way. Who's in the front row that doesn't know me, never met me before? Have you met me before? Are you good with directions, giving people directions? Neither of you. Well, what if I gave you a sign? Okay. So here's this. We're going to help everyone tonight. So I'm going to be doing my presentation tonight. I'm going to walk in this way and say, because we are on the wrong path. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to point to you, and you're going to say, wrong path. Easy enough? Okay. So I'm walking down here, and I'm saying, because we're on the... There you go. Very good. Now, at some point in the presentation, I'll be walking this way, and I'm going to say, because we're on the... You can cheat. Right, Pat. Very good. You want to practice again? You can. You want to pull up the sign again? What's that? I do better with the signs too. All right. Yeah, 3 clickers up here. It's like, you ever put those remote controls together at home and you have all these clickers? So, so before we go on, we talked about Jack and Diane, and we talked about their transformation. The gentleman was very smart to mention youthful sexuality. Something that we've got to kind of encapsulate before we get started tonight